It was a shame how he carried on. Hey, welcome back everyone to episode 7 of Red Shirt Movie Reviews. I am your host, Easton Bennett. Always been your host, always will be your host, so hopefully you guys are getting used to me. We're 7 episodes in, 7 weeks in, which is kind of crazy to think about. That's almost 2 months. It's a long time of you guys sitting here watching me through this nice little device. But as always, if this is your first time here, basically Red Shirt Movie Reviews is where I sit here and I review a movie that I have recently watched, and I give it a review and a score based solely on my opinion of the movie. So if you think I'm way off, that could very well be true. If this is your first time here, I'm excited for you because this week is a great movie we're going to review. If you are watching this 7th episode and you've already seen the previous 6, or maybe you've seen 2 of the previous ones, or maybe you've seen 4 of the previous ones, I'm happy to have you back. Obviously, if you're watching again, you must be somewhat interested, so I'm glad I can provide some value to your guys' lives. So last week's episode, we talked about a horror movie called Countdown. I don't know what you guys thought about that movie, but I really enjoyed it. I think it got a pretty high score. I can't remember. I think it was like an 8.2 or something like that. So pretty high score up on our scale, and one of the better movies we have reviewed. Now this week we are going to be reviewing a movie called Midway. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It just came out a week ago, I think, maybe last Friday. So today's Thursday. 7 minus 50 states minus 13 colonies, goddamn 47. So it came out 6 days ago, so just under a week, and it is a movie about the Battle of Midway. I don't know if you guys know what the Battle of Midway was. It was World War II. The Japanese decided to be dickheads and fly over, bomb Pearl Harbor, which is on my birthday, which is kind of cool. So if you guys are waiting to wish me a happy birthday, I'll be waiting 16 days from now. You guys can do the deed. But this movie was about the Battle of Midway, which followed after the Pearl Harbor bombing when the U.S. decided to battle at Midway. Hence the name Midway. So without talking about the movie any further, let's get into category number 1. And as always, that is story. Now the story of the movie, I kind of just explained a little bit, but now that I think about it, I already pretty much told the story, but we're going to tell it again because we got all the time in the world. I'm not busy. Are you busy? So the story of the movie is about the Japanese bombing the United States, and then the collective effort of the Americans and their strategies and what happens after that bombing. So that's basically what the movie's about. It follows around one pilot that flies, I don't even know what it's called. What are the pilots called that fly off of carriers? Fighter pilots? Fighter pilots. Noah Tate. What are they called? Noah Tate knows. So it follows around a couple pilots, but the main pilot they follow around is a guy named Dick Best, and he was a fighter pilot, I guess you call it. I'm not sure if that's the correct name, but that's what we're going to go with. So he is actually flying and shooting and dropping bombs on the Japanese carriers and battleships. So that's kind of what you follow around the whole movie. There's a lot of plane scenes where there's people flying in planes, dropping bombs, war, bullets, all of the fun stuff. But it basically follows around this one pilot, his family, and the strategies that go behind that. Overall, I would say the story is very accurate to what happened in real life. So that was one big reason why I liked the movie, is because it was historically accurate. And my favorite subject growing up and during school was always history. So you see how the Tetris blocks are falling and aligning. History movie, history man, liker guy goes to the history movie, and it's bound to be a perfect match. So that's why I enjoyed the movie. If you don't like history, and if you don't like war, and learning about World War II, then maybe just close the video and go play skee ball or something. I don't know. Let's move on to category number 2, and that is the acting. Now the acting in this movie I thought was in line with the story. It fit very well, and the characters depicted how they probably, I guess I can't say, but how they probably would have been in real life. A couple of them had accents, and they were very good at playing military characters. So that whole thing, and saying the word sir. So they had that all in line. The only gripe I would say about the acting was that one of the bigger characters was Woody Harrelson. And I don't know if you guys know who Woody Harrelson is, but I'll put a picture of him right here. And Mr. Harrelson was a general or lieutenant or something, but he was in the hierarchy of the military. And most of the time when I see him in a movie, it's a comedy or something a little bit lighter than World War II. So that was one thing it was hard to get over, but nothing that's going to change my view on the acting dramatically. So the acting was good. I wouldn't say anything where it stuck out like a sore thumb, but it also wasn't, you know, going to win an Oscar nominee. Is it an Oscar? I don't even know what I'm saying. Let's just go to the next category. Acting was good. Category number 3 is the cinematography and production. This one kind of baffled me a little bit because I assume it's just a ton of green screens, but then again, I have no idea, because all of the fighting scenes when they're in the air and flying around, there's no way they filmed all those actually flying around. I don't know. It's a head scratcher, but there must have been a lot of visual effects and green screening and all of that goodiness of Hollywood movie magic, because the scenes looked very, very real, like they were actually happening. But there was a few times that I could look at it and kind of tell that it was fake or, you know, green screened in, and then it wasn't super real. So that's the only thing that I'll give it a knock for. But other than that, I thought the color grading was great. They colored it to look like it was in World War II. You know, that super saturated and kind of greener tone. And I thought it looked really good. And the shots, besides the few shots that I noticed were fake looking, I guess you could say, were I don't have an adjective. The shots were very in line with the story they were trying to tell, and it was a very good depiction of World War II. Let's move on to category number 4, and that is emotion. The emotion they were trying to pull out of this movie, I assume, is, I guess I don't know what emotion would be, but they were trying to have the people watching relate with the Americans. So let's say if I had to peg one emotion that the movie pulled out, was empathy for the Americans after they just got multiple bombs dropped on them. So I think it did a very good job, because I was in the movie kind of pissed off, like I wanted to fight the Japanese on the spot, which is good. That's, I assume, what they were going for. But it was also an educational movie, so there was some of that emotion that was pulled out of, you know, learning and educational and actually seeing what happened instead of, you know, just reading about it in a textbook. So the emotion was very good. It wasn't strong enough to make me cry or anything like that, but I thought it did a good job of, you know, teaching me a few things and also making me feel empathetic with the Americans. Obviously, they're going to do that because I'm American. Let's move on to category number 5, our last category. We're going to give it a final score if we'd watch it again. The whole movie of Midway, I'd probably, you know, I feel like the experience of watching it in a movie theater always makes it better than it might be, because I tend to rate movies higher when I go watch them in a theater rather than watching them at my house. I went to this movie with my dad, so other than him eating all the popcorn, I thought the experience was like one of the better ones I've had in a while. That and Countdown. So we're on a 2-week streak of having great movie experiences. So if I had to give it a final score out of 10, I'd probably have to give it, we're gonna go a 9.1. That's a good score. That's, have I given a 9 yet? Spider-Man, maybe? Which is, now that I think about it, Spider-Man shouldn't have got, I don't know. This was better than Spider-Man, put it that way. And a 9.1, yeah. So I think that's a very, very fair score. Mainly because I love history. That might have skewed it a little bit. If you hate history and you hate war and you're all about peace and love, then you might not like this movie very much, but I thought it was a very good movie. My father thought so as well, and that's all that matters in these shows, is what I think and what you guys recommend for me to watch. So I'd love to hear your feedback on what you guys thought about the movie. There's a couple more movies that are coming out here, so I will be going to those. We will be reviewing them. I will be talking to this camera again right at your guys' faces, telling you my opinions, my thoughts, whether I'd watch them again, how great the production is, all of that fun stuff, so we can officially end this episode. This one is kind of a crammed episode, but that's how we like to do it. Just fire them out there, spit out these videos like it's just watch, film, edit, rinse, and repeat. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more of these videos, on the bottom, there's a nice red square. It says subscribe. Click it, punch it, punt it. I don't care what you do to it. Just somehow assault that red button. And I will see you guys on Tuesday. We are done with this side pulling thing if you watch Tuesday's video, so we're gonna do the top thing. But the shots were super awesome and great and fun and happy. Jada is in my room. Hello, Jada. Shay with the gauge and Vanilla with the 9. And that's what I liked about it is ISIS. Big twisty light. Do I look short in this chair, by the way? Because I kind of got it down a little bit and it's a little tough. And turn off.